When people think about buying a super expensive car like a Bugatti, they usually imagine power, luxury, freedom, and full ownership. The idea is simple. You pay millions of dollars, you sign the papers, and the car becomes yours completely. You can drive it, store it, modify it, or even repair it if something goes wrong. That is what ownership should mean in a normal world. But in the real world of hypercars, things are not that simple. There is a growing problem that many people do not see at first. It is the gap between legal ownership and real control. On paper, the car belongs to the buyer. But in practice, the manufacturer still holds a lot of control over how that car can be repaired, maintained, and even rebuilt after damage. This creates a situation where the owner feels powerful, but the system around the car still depends heavily on the company that built it. This is where the controversy begins. In recent cases involving luxury cars like Bugatti, this problem has become more visible because of independent rebuild projects. When a car is damaged and later bought by someone like Alex, who is known for rebuilding high-performance cars, it creates a conflict. The owner wants to fix the car using independent workshops, cheaper parts, and personal skills. But the manufacturer often prefers that only official service centers handle everything. This leads to tension because both sides believe they are right. The owner believes ownership should mean full freedom. The manufacturer believes only trained, approved systems can safely repair such advanced machines. This disagreement is not just about one car. It is about the entire idea of ownership in the modern automotive world. As prices increase and cars become more complex, manufacturers gain more control over repair systems. This makes many car enthusiasts question a basic idea. If you cannot fully repair what you own, do you really own it? This question is becoming more important in Europe, especially after new laws were introduced to give more freedom to consumers. But even with these laws, the situation is not fully solved. That is why cases involving high-end cars like Bugatti attract so much attention. They are not just about one car repair. They are about the future of how ownership will work in the luxury car industry and whether buyers will truly have full control over what they purchased. To understand this problem better, it is important to look at the legal changes happening in Europe. In 2024, the European Union introduced stronger right to repair rules. These rules were made to help consumers fix their products more easily without depending only on the original manufacturer. The main goal was to break the control that some companies had over spare parts and repair services. Before this law, many manufacturers made it difficult for independent mechanics to repair modern products. They controlled access to spare parts, special tools, and technical information. This meant that if something broke, the owner often had no choice but to go back to the official dealer, even if it was very expensive. The new EU law tried to change this by allowing consumers to use third-party repair shops and non-original parts, especially for visible parts like bumpers, lights, and body panels. The idea was to increase competition, lower repair costs, and give more freedom to car owners. The law also made it clear that a car warranty cannot be automatically canceled just because a non-official mechanic worked on the car. This was a big step forward for consumer rights. However, even with these rules, manufacturers found ways to maintain influence. One of the most common methods is offering extended warranties that are only valid if the car is serviced through official channels. This is not forced by law, but it creates pressure. When someone owns a very expensive car, the fear of losing warranty coverage is enough to make them follow the manufacturer's rules. So, even though the law supports freedom, real-life behavior often still favors the manufacturer. This creates a gray area where legality and influence overlap. Technically, owners have freedom. Practically, they feel restricted. This is exactly the type of situation that creates controversy in cases involving luxury hypercars like Bugatti, where repair costs are extremely high and risks are even higher. The law says one thing, but the industry practices sometimes create a different reality. That gap between law and real-world behavior is where most of the conflict begins. The situation becomes even more intense when independent builders or content creators enter the picture. In this case, Alex represents a growing group of automotive enthusiasts who do not rely on official dealers for repairs. Instead, they buy damaged supercars from auctions and rebuild them using independent workshops, personal knowledge, and third-party suppliers. This approach is popular in the car community because it shows that complex vehicles can be repaired outside official systems. However, when it comes to brands like Bugatti, things are much more complicated. These cars are not ordinary vehicles. They are highly advanced machines with specialized engineering, unique software systems, and extremely precise manufacturing standards. Because of this, manufacturers often argue that only official service centers have the correct tools and knowledge to repair them safely. From their point of view, allowing unapproved repairs could lead to safety risks, performance issues, or long-term damage to the vehicle. But from the perspective of independent builders, this argument feels like control rather than safety. They believe that if a person legally owns a car, they should be allowed to repair it anywhere they choose. This disagreement creates tension. When Alex begins rebuilding a Bugatti, the manufacturer's reaction becomes very important. In many cases, companies do not directly stop the rebuild, but they also do not support it. They may refuse to supply parts, withhold technical data, or avoid cooperation. This creates a silent barrier. It is not an official ban, but it still makes the process more difficult. This type of behavior raises legal and ethical questions. Is it simply protecting safety standards, or is it limiting competition? The answer is not always clear, and that is why these cases often become controversial. The more expensive and exclusive the car, the stronger this conflict becomes, because the stakes are much higher for both sides. From a legal point of view, European competition law plays a major role in this debate. These laws are designed to prevent companies from creating monopolies or unfair control over markets. In the automotive industry, this means manufacturers are not supposed to block independent repair shops from accessing parts, tools, or technical information. The law supports fair competition so that customers have choices when it comes to repair services. On paper, this should mean that any qualified mechanic can repair a car, and any supplier can produce compatible parts. However, in practice, things are more complicated. High-end manufacturers often have very advanced systems that are difficult to copy or access. They also have intellectual property rights over software, diagnostics, and engineering data. This allows them to maintain a level of control even without directly breaking the law. For example, if a company refuses to sell certain parts or delays technical support, it may not be clearly illegal, but it still creates barriers for independent repairers. This is where legal interpretation becomes important. Is the manufacturer simply protecting its technology, or is it limiting competition? Courts often have to examine intent, impact, and market behavior to decide. In cases involving luxury cars, the situation becomes even more sensitive because the products are rare, expensive, and highly specialized. This means fewer independent experts are available, which increases dependence on the manufacturer. As a result, even with strong EU laws, enforcement is not always straightforward. The law provides a framework, but real-world application depends on how companies choose to operate within that framework. This is why disputes like the one involving Bugatti rebuilds attract legal attention. They test the limits of how far manufacturers can go while still staying within the law. Beyond the legal debate, there is also a psychological and financial side to this issue. Owners of hypercars are not ordinary customers. They invest millions of dollars into a single vehicle, and that creates a strong fear of making mistakes. Even if the law allows independent repairs, many owners still prefer official service centers because they believe it reduces risk. This fear is something manufacturers understand very well. Instead of directly forcing customers, they often design systems that make official service feel safer and more reliable. For example, extended warranties and service guarantees are often tied to official maintenance records. This creates a situation where owners feel they must follow the manufacturer's system, even if they technically have other options. From the manufacturer's perspective, this ensures quality control and protects brand reputation. From the owner's perspective, it feels like pressure and limited freedom. This psychological factor is one of the most powerful tools in the entire industry. It does not rely on legal force, but on trust and fear. When combined with high repair costs and complex engineering, it becomes very difficult for independent builders to fully replace official networks. Even skilled mechanics may hesitate to work on such vehicles without manufacturer support. This is why cases like Alex's rebuild are so important. They challenge not only legal systems, but also the mindset of ownership in the luxury car world. They ask a deeper question: is freedom of ownership real if fear still controls decisions? In the end, this issue is not just about one Bugatti or one rebuild project. It represents a much larger